All right, today we're diving into Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is a book with a really simple but honestly game-changing idea at its core. It says that you don't need some massive, life-altering event to change everything. Nope. Real change comes from tiny, almost invisible improvements.
I mean, let's be real. This is a question we've all asked ourselves, right? Why is it so ridiculously hard to stick with good habits and kick the bad ones? You know the drill. You want to eat better. You want to hit the gym. You want to stop scrolling for hours, but it just feels like pushing a boulder uphill. Well, here's the secret. The problem isn't you. It's your system. Okay, so to really get this, let's look at a pretty amazing story. British cycling. Back in 2003, these guys were, well, they were famously mediocre. I'm talking almost 100 years with just one single Olympic gold medal. They were basically a non-factor in the sport.
And then everything changed. Fast forward just 5 years to the 2008 Beijing Olympics. That same team didn't just win, they absolutely dominated. They walked away with a mind-blowing 60% of the gold medals available in road and track cycling. 60%! So how on earth did they do it? What was their secret? Well, here's the thing. It wasn't one single massive change. It was hundreds of tiny ones. Their new performance director had this philosophy he called the aggregation of marginal gains. It's a fancy way of saying, let's get 1% better at absolutely everything. And I mean everything. They looked at the ergonomics of the bike seats, tested different massage gels, even figured out which pillows led to the best night's sleep. Nothing was too small. And that story right there is the heart of this whole book. It's what James Clear calls the 1% secret. So he gives these tiny improvements a name, atomic habits. Think about it like, atoms. An atom is a tiny, fundamental building block. On its own, it's not much, but you combine them and they build molecules, they build, well, everything. Atomic habits are the same. They're the building blocks for remarkable results. And get this, the math is just wild. If you improve by just 1% every single day for a whole year, you don't end up 365% better. No, because of compounding, you end up 37 times better. That's not intuitive at all, is it? But wow, is it powerful?
So, okay, if this is so powerful, why does it feel like we're not making any progress most of the time? This is what Clear calls the plateau of latent potential, and he has a brilliant way to explain it. Imagine you have an ice cube. You start heating it up, it goes from 0 degrees to 1 to 10 to 31, and what's happening? Nothing. It's just a cold, wet ice cube. It feels like all that work is wasted. But it's not. It's stored potential. The moment it hits 32 degrees, bam, a breakthrough. That's exactly how your habits work. The biggest results are always delayed.
All right, so we get the why. Small habits are powerful. But what about the how? How do we actually, do it? This is where Clear gives us a super practical, easy-to-follow framework. He calls it the 4 laws of change. The whole system is it's so elegant. To build a good habit, you just need to do 4 things. 1, make it obvious. 2, make it attractive. 3, make it easy. And 4, make it satisfying. And here's the best part. If you want to break a bad habit, you just flip it on its head. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Okay, but why these 4 laws specifically? What's so special about them? Well, it's because they're not just some random good ideas. They are designed to work with the way our brains are already wired. They tap directly into something called the habit loop. And this is where it all clicks together. See, every habit follows a 4-step pattern in our brain. There's a cue, which is the trigger, then a craving, the motivation, then the response, which is the actual habit, and finally, the reward. And look how perfectly the 4 laws map onto this. Make it obvious is all about the cue. Make it attractive is for the craving. Make it easy is for the response. And make it satisfying, that's the reward that makes your brain say, hey, let's do that again. You're literally hacking your own brain's wiring. Now, this is where Atomic Habits goes from just a book of really clever tips and tricks to something much, much deeper. Because this whole framework, it isn't just about changing what you do. It's about changing who you are. Just look at this comparison. It's so powerful. Think about the language. The person focused on an outcome says, I'm trying to quit smoking. But the person focused on their identity says, I'm not a smoker. Do you see the difference? The first person is still identifying as a smoker who's fighting a battle. The second person has fundamentally changed how they see themselves. Their actions just naturally fall in line with that new identity. It's a total game changer.
Clear puts it this way.
Every single action you take is like a vote for the type of person you want to become. So every time you choose to meditate, even for just a minute, you're casting a vote for, I am a calm person. Every time you put on your running shoes and go out the door, you're casting a vote for, I am a runner. These little habits are the evidence that builds your identity. Okay, and this brings us to the last big idea, the one that really ties everything we've talked about together. And that's the difference between focusing on goals versus focusing on systems.
This might be the single most powerful quote in the entire book. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Think about that for a second. Goals are great, they give you direction, but the system is the process that actually gets you there. You know, every athlete in the Olympics wants to win the gold medal. They all have the same goal. The winners are the ones who have a better system for training day in and day out.
So I want to leave you with this question to think about. Take a look at your own life. What are the systems you're currently running? What are those tiny daily habits? And then ask yourself the big question, what identity are those habits casting votes for? Who are they helping you become?